This video is for you if you want to become your own boss, if you like working from the comfort of your home, or maybe travel anywhere around the world and still do your work. But also it is for you if you would love to start picking and choosing the creative projects you'd like to work on. Becoming a freelance graphic designer will certainly allow you to benefit from all of these freedoms. But how do you get started? How do you even find your first clients? Well, in this video, that's exactly what we are going to cover, so keep watching. What is up everyone, Ronnie here. Welcome back to the channel. This is your place if you want to learn how to use Canva and how to start making money with Canva, which leads me to the topic of this video, how to become a freelance graphic designer. I have prepared 6 steps for you that I would like to discuss, so without further ado, let's jump right in. The first step, and probably the most obvious one, is that you need to invest in your skills, because becoming a graphic designer and selling your services as a graphic designer will go from the assumption that you are already pretty good at graphic design, or at least better than the average, so that you can provide this service for cost to clients, right? So how do you get to this level? How do you get confident enough in your skills so that you can start charging for these skills, for these services? Well, I would say you are pretty lucky, because you live in an era where information is abundant and a lot of it is free as well. For example, all the tutorials on this YouTube channel. There is a ton of tutorials. We have over 300 videos and they are completely free. So if you decide, for example, that you want to build your graphic design business around the tool Canva, then I suggest you go through all of our videos, you watch them, you reproduce the project that we teach in each of these videos, and that's already a pretty intense training. Now, if you want to go a little bit deeper, or maybe a little bit broader in terms of what you are learning, you could search on platforms like Skillshare or Udemy for courses, not only about graphic design, but about client management, building a portfolio, social media marketing, or building a website. All of these skills, if you invest in them, will at the end of the day help you find clients and grow your graphic design business. So platforms like Udemy and Skillshare are relatively inexpensive, okay? So you could find courses on Udemy for as low as $10, 10 US dollars. And my recommendation to you would be read the reviews on these courses and go for the most popular ones, okay? For example, if you want to invest in a Canva course, you can choose my Canva course. But jokes apart, try to go for the instructors that have the best ratings, but also a lot of students in their course. Skillshare is a little bit of a different beast than Udemy. On Udemy, you will buy and pay for individual courses, while on Skillshare, for about roughly $10 to $15 a month, you will have access to the entire library. So that could be a really good investment. You could invest in a month or 2 months of Skillshare and take as many classes as you can to learn different skills, different aspects of graphic design. And by all means, on Skillshare, there are a ton of graphic design related classes. So go ahead and dig a little bit on these platforms, find out what you want to learn, maybe make a program for yourself and allow a certain amount of hours or maybe a certain amount of days to really train yourself and educate yourself, because that is the absolute base. Now, on top of investing in knowledge, you will probably want to invest in other things, like your tools, for example. And by tools, I mean hardware, like a good enough computer, a decent mouse. Maybe you want to invest in a secondary screen so that you can really work professionally with your graphic design. But also it could mean software. So maybe you want to invest in the Adobe suite. If you really want to get super serious about graphic design, you might want to invest in Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. Or if you want to go with Canva, you might want to try Canva Pro and see what Canva Pro has to offer and see if that helps your graphic design business, which I think so. So I would definitely recommend anyone serious about starting a graphic design business to invest in Canva Pro. We'll have a link in the description. It is our 45-day free trial for Canva Pro. It is an affiliate link. So if you want to try it for free for 45 days, make sure you use the link in the description. All right, investing in tools might also also mean investing in a good chair, because if you spend 8 to 10 hours a day working on your computer, you might have some back problems at some point and need to go see a doctor. So you don't want that. Invest in a good chair. You might also want to invest in a good desk or anything really that will help you start that business. And then the last thing I would consider investing in, and that is if you have a little bit more of a budget, is to invest in mentoring or coaching, because that is, in my opinion, the fastest way to learn, is to tap into the experience of someone who has already done it before. So if you know someone like that, that could give you some advice based on their own experience of starting a graphic design business, go for them. Ask them, how much would you charge me for 2 hours of your time? I would love to ask you 1,000 questions that I have about becoming a graphic designer. So these are the 3 things I would definitely invest in when getting started: investing in your knowledge, investing in your tools, and investing in mentoring if you can afford to. The second step to starting your graphic design career or journey is to pick your niche. Now, why would you need to pick a niche and maybe reduce the pool of clients that are available to you, Ronnie? Well, let me explain that with a little example. If, let's say, you didn't invest in a good chair and you work on a wooden chair, like me today, and you work too long on your computer and now your neck is all crooked and it's painful and you cannot turn your head in either direction. So who would you want to go see to help you with your bad neck? Would you go see your local chiropractor, or would you go see a general practitioner, a GP, like a normal doctor? Well, chances are you would prefer to go and talk to the specialist to take care of your neck, because let's admit it, no one wants to work with a generalist. So the idea is this one: when your clients or potential clients will have a problem, a graphic design problem or need, there is a good chance that they will try to find someone who specializes in their specific area to solve their problem. That's the first type of person they would go looking for, right? So that is the main idea. No one wants to work with a generalist, so I would heavily recommend that you try to become an expert, or even to become the go-to person in a smaller pond, in a smaller niche. So how do you pick that niche? Well, it's easy to say that I have to pick a niche, Ronnie, but how do I do that? And I talk about this into detail in my personal branding master course on Udemy, but I decided to extract the goodies from this particular lecture of the course and deliver them to you in this video. But for those of you who want to really grab the course, I will have a link in the description as well. Now, how do you pick a niche? Well, I have identified 4 different ways to specialize, to limit yourself to a smaller niche, a smaller group of people. The first way to go niche is to focus on a specific area you want to serve or you want to sell to. And by area, I mean geographical area. So that would be the city you live in, or the province you live in, or the specific market you evolve in. Okay, so that would be the first way to pick your niche, to make yourself known locally. So that will imply a lot of word of mouth marketing, a lot of contact and networking with local businesses, and that would be how you start making yourself known in that specific local area niche. So that's the first way to pick a niche. The second way to pick a niche is to focus on the audience you want to sell to. So that would be the specific market you want to get in, the specific type of people or businesses you want to start helping with graphic design. So for example, you could start helping YouTubers who need help with their video, maybe slides, maybe they need help with their social media. So that's one area, focusing on YouTubers. You could focus on accountants who might create websites, who might need to create reports, etc., etc. You could focus on social media marketing. So you become very good at creating graphics for Pinterest or for Facebook, or for whatever social media platform. You could focus on helping restaurants and design menus and flyers and things of that regard. So really deciding on who you want to help, like your ideal audience, could also be part of picking your niche. You could also pick a niche by positioning yourself in terms of price point. So you could, for example, become the luxury graphic designer and charge very expensive, but work with high-end client. Now, of course, this is everyone's dream, to work with only super high-paying customers, and it's going to be difficult at the beginning. But if you decide to position yourself as the cheapest, then I believe you are in trouble, because then you will be competing with everyone who wants to desperately sell their graphic design services. And if you compete by using your price as your main competitive advantage, meaning I charge you less than everybody else, it's going to be very difficult to start making a decent living with graphic design. So be clever about how you position yourself in terms of price point, and try to select or weed out certain customers that will be very time consuming if you set the bar too low. And then the last way you can pick your niche is by the way you sell your services. Meaning you could sell your services as a graphic designer on retainer. So someone will pay you a couple of $100s a month and they have access to a specific amount of services that you will deliver. So retainers, you could create smart packages of different bundles of services that you can offer for a certain price. You can be smart about your different offers and create different types of packages that would cater to the people you decide to serve. Okay, so make your research, create a strategy about pricing and packaging and really bundling your services. That could be a different way of choosing your niche, of picking the people you want to work with. Now let's talk a little bit about the benefits of picking a niche. Well, the first one is something we already mentioned. No one wants to work with a generalist. Here's something you will never hear. Like a company, they need to create a new website and they need visuals for that website. You will never hear anyone at that company say, find me an average graphic designer. No. They will say, find me the best graphic designer who knows about website photography. That's probably much more probable than find me a designer who is just like any other designers. No, nobody says that. So definitely picking a specialty will really help you being perceived as the go-to expert for that specific niche. The second benefit really of picking a niche is competition and reducing the competition. Indeed, if you don't niche down, if you are a generalist, then you're competing with everybody. You're competing with every single new person who wants to become a graphic designer and haven't done their homework of figuring out their niche. And that is a lot of people. And competing with that many people means you will have an extreme pressure on your prices, okay? And you don't want that. So niching down by using one of the 4 ways I just explained earlier will help you reduce that competition, because you're narrowing the pool of people really who are active in that specific niche. When I decided to create online courses, for example, I really thought long and hard, what do I want to teach? I could have thought about a couple of different things, but I decided to teach about Canva because I had done my research on different platforms and I had seen this is what the offer is all about. These 10 courses are the existing courses about Canva. And I thought, I can do better than that. And I did. I took my time and I created a course which was way better than what I had seen there when I created the course. So this is another benefit, I would say, of niching down, is that you will reduce your competition. Now, it is much easier to become the go-to Canva person than the go-to graphic design person or the go-to entrepreneur person, because the niche is much bigger. Another benefit of choosing a niche is that you will save some dollars when you're trying to market your skills or to market your services. Indeed, if you need to push your message to the masses, to everyone, you will need to spend much more money to get seen, to get noticed. While if you only need to push your services and promote yourself or build your brand in a smaller niche, a smaller group of people, and therefore a smaller niche of professionals catering to that niche, well, you can laser focus your messaging and your effort, your marketing effort on that smaller group of people, which will at the end of the day be more effective and probably cheaper. And finally, the last benefit I could pinpoint for choosing a niche is that it would be easier for you to create content, because you will have a very clear idea of what people in your niche want, what their problems are, what their challenges are, and your content should be shaped in a way that it answers these people's questions, doubts, challenges, problems. So choosing a niche, understanding that niche, will really help you create content that will help you build your personal brand and understand what packages to offer to that niche, understand how to reach out to that niche, niche via the channels they use regularly to communicate or to find information. So creating content will become easier if you have a niche. All right, now I would like to quickly give you a couple of ideas, a couple of examples of niches related to graphic design. You could, for example, pick the niche of social media graphic design, so anything really related to social media. You could specialize in building brand identities for your clients, their logos, their color palettes, their visual identity. You could specialize in UI or UX for apps or websites. You could specialize in supporting video creators like YouTubers, TikTokers, anyone really who is creating videos. What do they need? What can I support them with and become the expert in that? You could become the visual effect specialist, or at least try to become really good at creating visual effects, transitions, maybe stickers and things like that. You could decide to support and work with course creators. There's so many course creators on Udemy, on Skillshare, on Coursera, there's so many platforms nowadays. Or you could simply decide to work with people and work exclusively with Canva. And so what you deliver to your clients is a Canva file or a Canva template that they can also maybe customize or continue to work with. So these are just some examples of ways of niching down as a graphic designer. All right, I think it is time for us to move on to step number 3 of becoming a graphic designer. And step number 3 is to gain some experience, some professional experience by volunteering for friends and family. Now, there is a lot of debating whether or not you should work for free when you are trying to kickstart your graphic design career. And personally, my opinion about this is that I'm not really a huge fan of working for free. Well, first, because it's not gratifying for the creator. And second, and most importantly, because some people, some clients tend to abuse from that. And they also look at the value of graphic design work as something that is not really valuable. Because if everybody is trying to get clients and offering their services for free, then it diminishes the value that is perceived of graphic design work. So if you don't want to contribute to this trend, try not to offer your services for free in order to gain experience, or at least not in public places like Facebook groups or social media. Instead of offering your work or services for free in these public forums, try to offer a free consultation with a potential client. That way you can gain some experience about talking to clients, but also selling your services to clients, which is going to be a very crucial point in the success or the failure of your graphic design business. How to talk the client into buying your services. You need to learn that skill. So, volunteering for friends and family. I think this is the better way of working for free in exchange for professional experience for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that you get to pick and choose the projects you work for, okay? So think about who in your immediate circle, your friends and family and relatives, who has a business that might need your help as a graphic designer. And then if the project sounds interesting to you, or if you think that could really help the person while giving you some professional experience and you'd like to get into a professional relationship with this person, then you reach out to them and you offer a couple of very specific things you could do for them. But you still get to pick and choose the projects you want to work on. The second benefit of volunteering for friends and family is that you get to work with people you can trust. People you can reasonably assume will not try to take advantage of you and the fact that you volunteered to work for free for them. There will be some clear boundaries and there will be a mutual respect in that professional relationship. And then the last benefit of volunteering for friends and family against professional experience is that you will feel much more comfortable asking for a testimonial, a review, or a referral after the project is finished, because that is going to be a crucial part of your success, is building your social proof. So after the work is finished, it's delivered, and the relative or friend is happy about the result, ask them for a testimonial. Step number 4 is to create a living portfolio. And I understand this might be intimidating for some of you, like how do I build a portfolio? What's even in a portfolio? Well, how do I build a website? Do I need a website? Well, the thing is, you have to start somewhere. What's very important is that when you will start reaching out to clients, you need a place, you need a URL, a website that you can send to potential customers, because everybody is going to ask you for your portfolio. So not creating a portfolio would be pretty much sowing the branch you are sitting on, because that question will come. So you better anticipate it and create your portfolio. And by living portfolio, I mean it needs to be something that is not static, like done once and for all, like a website that is just like a showroom. No. You want a website that is easy to update, because you will be working on a ton of new projects on a regular basis, and maybe you want to showcase these projects. So you need to have a solution that is flexible enough. And the good news is that Canva offers these flexible solutions. Basically, I would go with one or the other. The first one is to create a presentation. You start a presentation document in Canva and you start showing your work, and then you publish this presentation as a website. That's the easiest way to do it. The second thing is that you can create a Canva website. In Canva website, they are pretty much the same thing to create as a presentation, just a couple of different tweaks. And also we have a lot of videos on this channel about creating your Canva website. So I will have a link right here to one of my most popular videos about creating your personal branding website, so make sure you check that out. And if you don't want to use Canva for creating your portfolio, it's completely fine. You can use other website builders like Wix or Squarespace. It's really whatever you fancy. But the important thing is that you do create that portfolio, that you do update it regularly whenever you have some new projects to showcase. My last piece of advice when creating your portfolio is try to use a custom URL. Try to buy a URL for less than $20 a year with your name, for example, or the name you have chosen for your business. That's a good investment. And if you don't have that budget, you can use a URL shortener like Bitly to shorten, for example, the URL of your Canva website, or the URL of your Canva presentation, which you've turned into a website, because these tend to be very long. So you need to make that URL as memorable, as easy to remember as possible. So think about that. Now, let's talk about the information you absolutely need to include in your project portfolio as a graphic designer. Well, I personally think there are 6 points that need to be in your portfolio. The first one is a section of that portfolio that speaks a little bit about you, okay? Who you are, why you have decided to do this, and potentially how you are different from all of the competitors out there. The second section, in my opinion, needs to be about your background. How did you learn about graphic design? How did you evolve as a designer? The third section is to talk about your graphic design process. If someone decides to work with you, what can they expect? What are the different steps that will be presented to them as a client? And then, of course, section 4 needs to be about showcasing your previous work. And when you do so, try to give the viewer a little bit of context about the brief or the client, okay? Because just showing some beautiful designs isn't always enough to really portray the reality of a project. Give a little bit of context about specific projects and then show the final outcomes. Then, of course, you want to include a section about client testimonials, and the more detailed, the better in this stage. I will come back to this specific point in a minute. And then the last section of your design portfolio is how to get in touch with you. If I want to work with you as a client, how do I reach out to you? So make sure you include your links to social, your email, a phone number, anything you feel comfortable with really when it comes to people reaching out to you. So for example, if you're shy and you don't like to talk on the phone, then don't include a phone number. That's completely fine. And then comes the big question, should I include my prices in my portfolio? My 2 cents on that topic is that if you don't want to give your client like a precise menu with prices and tariffs, it might be a good idea to at least give them a range of prices for a project you've worked on before. That way you don't lose your time, I would say, like getting into a conversation with a potential client only to find out down the way, down like a couple of emails, that they don't have the budget to work with you. So at least give them a range of budgets that you typically work with. Alright guys, we have 2 more steps to go. I hope you are enjoying this video. This is a little bit different than what I do usually. I thought a lot of you guys probably want to become a graphic designer and start making money with graphic design. So why not tell you a little bit about what I know about this, because I have been there. I'm not a freelance graphic designer anymore, but I certainly have been there. Diana has been there. So I really hope you like this kind of content. And if you do, please hit the like button, because that's the best way to support this channel and help us with the visibility on YouTube. The more likes, the further the video will reach. Also, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, now would be a very good time to hit that red subscribe button, maybe hit the bell as well, so you always receive a notification when we publish a new video. And we do publish 2 new videos every week, one from me, one from Diana. Now, back to the presentation, we have 2 more steps to cover. Step number 5 is to showcase your work to the world constantly. There is no stopping in this. That's very important to understand. If you want to build your client base, you constantly need to be showing off your work. And the good news is that there are plenty of venues to do so. Indeed, creating your design portfolio is a must, but it is only the first step. After you have that website, after you have that portfolio, you need to share it with the world. So my recommendation to do so would be to use wisely an array of social media platforms like Facebook groups that are related to design, related to Canva, related to entrepreneur, or related to the niche you have picked. Instagram would be a very good place to start showing off your work, your personal Instagram. LinkedIn would be a great place to network and maybe showcase your design work, especially if you work in specific field or industries. So use hashtags and start networking with people in your niche. But then also there are a couple of specialized platforms that revolve around the world of graphic design. So Behance is one, and Dribbble is another one. So make sure you check these out. And if you use Canva as your main tool, there are a lot of great communities for Canva designers on Facebook. So make sure you check them out as well. Now, once you have decided what platforms you want to showcase your work on, a very important first step would be to create an effective profile, a profile that will sell for you. Okay, so the strategy, the right strategy, is not to push and be spammy and put the link to your portfolio everywhere. Every time you post a project, you try to promote your own website. That's the spammy way of going about this. The better way of going about this is to create a profile on these platforms that will do the selling for you. You want to create value for the people in that specific Facebook group or that specific LinkedIn group or LinkedIn page. You want to create value that is so good that they want to click on your profile to see who is that guy giving me so much value. And then your profile will do the selling, okay? That's what you do. So how do you get there? Well, first you need a spotless profile picture. You need a very good profile picture. The profile picture needs to show your face, not your dog, not your house, not your motorbike, your face, a close-up of your face. Look at my profile picture and you will have an idea. And by all means, Diana has created a very good tutorial that you can right-click on the card right here and save that for later about how to create a really good profile picture, like Will Smith. Who doesn't want to be like Will Smith? Maybe except the slapping. But jokes apart, you will need to create a very clean social media profile for each of the platforms you've decided to be active on to promote your work as a graphic designer. And then we made it to the 6th and final step about working with clients as a graphic designer. Let's assume you have hooked a client. You have started a relationship with a potential client and now it is time to deliver. How do you go about this? Well, let me show you 3 important points I have outlined for you. The first one is that you want to have a questionnaire ready. That questionnaire is going to help you collect the context, but also all the visual information, but also the story, and also understand really what the client wants. Okay, this is going to be your go-to document that you will be using to conduct, to really carry on the design project. So if you build your questionnaire in a professional way, it will be easier for you then to work with that client because you will have anticipated all the future questions, all the resources that you need to carry on the project. And of course, with experience, your questionnaire will evolve, and the more clients you work with, the more you will tweak that questionnaire until it becomes the perfect document for you to support your graphic design work. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is to work with milestones milestones, okay? So slice your projects into important milestones, and maybe you could sync the payment methods to the different milestones. So let's say when you finish this first part, like you expect the client to pay you 25%, and then you have 3 more slices and it's 25%, 25%, 25%. It might be smart also to ask for a deposit. So maybe the first slide, the first 25%, the client has to pay before you deliver anything, just to get started. So it's really up to you, and also could create another entire video about this, but it's not the topic of this one. I just want to mention that working with milestones and synchronizing your payment slices with your milestones might be a good idea. And then the third important thing I would do is to deliver, or try to deliver, more than what was promised at the beginning, what you had agreed on with the client. Because if you do so, they will be ecstatic. They will love you and they would rave about you and your services in their testimonial. And that is, particularly when you're getting started, super important for you. To have really good client testimonials is what is going to get you to the next client. So if you over-deliver, there is a good chance that client will mention that in her or his testimonial about your work. All right, and that leads me to the final thing I want to talk about in this video. I'm sorry if there is a lot of information, but I do believe it is useful for you if you want to get started as a graphic designer. So yeah, might as well talk about it. And this last point I want to talk about is how to collect testimonials the proper way. Because if you collect a testimonial which is vanilla, oh, I loved working with him, he's so good, blah, 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 that's not gonna cut it. Like, you want specific, detailed testimonials that will help you find the next client. Okay, so here again, I have 6 points that I think you should follow in order to get the best testimonials possible. The first one is ask for the testimonial right after you deliver the value and right after you over-deliver. You wow the client and then you hit them with the testimonial request. Ask them when they are ecstatic about your work. This is the best way to do it, okay? My second point is that video testimonial is always better. Why? Because it's much more credible. Like, anybody can write a fake review and post a fake photo. Everybody can do it. But if you are talking on Zoom with your client and you deliver the project and she's so happy, then ask her, do you mind if I record 5 minutes and you give me a testimonial? And she will probably do it if she's really happy about your work. And then you got that video testimonial that will look very good on your portfolio. So think about that. Third point, if you cannot get the video review, video testimonial, ask your client for at least a photo and their contact detail. Because a testimonial without a photo, or a testimonial without a way to reaching out to the client to kind of double check if this is a legit review, a legit testimonial, it's pretty much useless, because you need to build trust. So if people see, oh, I can click through this name right here and get to their messenger or their WhatsApp, I can ask what that person thinks about that designer. So ask your client if they would agree to that, and then do it. Make it easy for the potential customer to double check on that testimonial you are presenting to them. Fourth point, if you want good testimonials, you have to think about 2 to 3 questions you want to ask your client after you are done working for them. Don't just ask them for a review, because most probably they will write something very vanilla. On the other hand, if you have like very good questions to ask and follow up with, they will probably be more specific, or they will probably give more details. And you can also conduct the testimonial with the questions you ask. So think about that. Next, always ask for permission to publish a client testimonial to your portfolio or to your website. Don't just do it without their consent. That's not respectful. And then finally, when it comes to testimonial, make it a habit to ask for them every time you wrap up a project. Because the more testimonials you get, the more social proof you are building, and the easier it will become for you to convince new customers. So make it an honest process, a transparent process, and a regular, a systematic process. You need to have as many as you can. And that's it for this video, guys. I really hope it was helpful to you. Let me know in the comment if it was, and what else you would love to learn about becoming a graphic designer or a freelance, something else. You know, I have quite a bit of experience. And I'm going to leave you another video right here, and that is my video about creating a personal branding website with Canva. It is super easy to create, and that would be the perfect way to create your design portfolio. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.